Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a wonderful episode of Sporting Perspective. It is week 5 of the NFL slate. Can you believe 20% of the NFL slate is already come and gone? And I'll be honest with you, I'm having a long time reading a lot of these teams. A lot of crazy upsets happened last week, a lot of things that we didn't expect to happen, and I expect more of that to happen going forward. What was your thoughts on week 4 before we jump into our top 3 big storylines?
Yeah, every week in the NFL seems to be there's always something crazy. We had more injuries,
Mhm.
uh, which is never fun. Um, we had a tie, which is maybe something I might get to in my storylines. I don't know. It just goes to show you that one week you can be all over a team and like, wow, this team's great, and the next week it's like, maybe not.
Yeah.
So yeah, football in general. I mean, baseball and basketball. You seem like there's more games, so you're able to really get a grasp of what's going on in that sport. But football is it's so hard to predict.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it's one of the great things about the NFL is literally anyone can win on any given Sunday with how the game plays out. And um, I mean, even last week, I know we won't really talk about it. I mean, Bills won by 12, but the Saints were in that game the whole way through it. We never would have thought Green Bay and Dallas would end up in a tie. Uh, it's just unpredictable how these games play out. Baltimore just completely fallen apart. I don't think a lot of people would have predicted these things, but let's jump into our top 3. I'll let you go first and we'll go back and forth.
Yeah. So my number one thing is obviously that Packer Cowboy game ended in overtime, and it's just crazy to me that in 2025, I know they revamped the overtime rules a little bit, giving each team a chance, which I like. That's good. But we need to figure out a winner, in my opinion. I think ties are great in soccer. It's called a draw, and that's fine. Um, the hell happened to my? No, I think my phone died. Well, there goes my
Oh,
light.
oh, you're good. You're
Um,
good.
yeah, it just is very un-American to me that we can end in a tie. I mean, college football does it right. I'm not saying that we need to set the ball at the 25 and let these NFL teams go back and forth, but at least have like a full overtime, and then if it's tied after that, maybe just do 2 point conversions, kind of like college or something, just to like not have a tie. It's just so anticlimactic, and that's my soapbox. I think NFL overtime rules are dumb. The fact that you can
Yeah, I think they've made them better. They've definitely improved over the last, 10, 15 years here because a lot of the rules were not great, where one team would just dominate the ball and it would be the end of that and that would be all. I wish it would be a 15-minute quarter rather than a 10-minute quarter because at least then you get the opportunity of it might go back to the other team. I will say this, though Green Bay got very lucky with how badly they ran their time management on that last play. I mean, Jordan Love's pass doesn't hit the defender. I mean, that ball would have hit zero and they would have lost. So they really got to get that freshened out of figuring out time management there. Um, but yeah, ties are not fun. They're not exciting, and yeah, I mean, I don't think Vegas likes ties either because everyone just gets their money back.
yeah. Well, and like you mentioned it, Green Bay probably should have lost that game. Talk
Yeah,
about a team that looked dominant defensively for 3 weeks, and then week 4 just they could not stop Dallas at all. Well,
yeah,
they
it's
could in the
very
first half. The first half they could.
yeah. Yeah, Dallas is also getting to a spot. I don't think we're going to talk about Dallas, but I'll just mention this really quickly. CD Lamb not playing, that offense looked incredible.
Yeah, George Pickens
I,
really stepped up.
yeah, I mean, Dak's actually playing really well. I mean, he shredded the Giants a couple weeks back. Had a bad game against Chicago, but it's going to be interesting. Dallas is one of those teams right now where I'm just like, okay, who the hell are you actually? Are you actually good, or is this been just a hard start to the schedule? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out Dallas for the most
Yeah,
part.
their defense
So,
isn't good. I'll tell you that. Losing Micah
no,
Parsons doesn't help, but they haven't looked good defensively for 4 weeks.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of the good old Tony Romo Dallas days. Throw up as many points as you possibly can, shootouts all the time. Um, my first storyline is Steelers beating the Vikings, a game that I think both of us felt pretty confident saying Minnesota was going to win that game. Steelers now 3-1, having beaten the Jets, having beaten New England, and now Minnesota over in Ireland. I'm having a really hard time reading the Steelers team. Kenneth Gainwell ran the ball well. Aaron Rodgers looked good in this one. But there's just something about the Steelers team that's just like, is this been a kind of like a fraud first quarter of the season, or is this another Steelers team that's gonna make the playoffs? It seems like the the waves are parting in the Steelers' waves, where Lamar is now hurt, Joe Burrow is gone until December, Cleveland sucks, so it feels like the division's wide open for them. Is this a Steelers team that legitimately could win the division?
I think so. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, despite his age, is still he's not harming you. He's doing more good than bad. DK Metcalf finally had a big breakout run and catch. And yeah, it seems like they plug anyone in at running back. I mean, Jalen Warren was their starter. He's a little guy, and he's having a good year. He got ruled out like an hour before the game. They throw Kenneth Gainwell in, who's been a long time just backup running back, and he dominated. So hats off to the Steelers' offensive line. I mean, even Caleb Johnson had a couple decent runs.
Mhm.
He's probably their future and someone that they're looking at as like their running back one of the future. Maybe you don't need to use them all that much this year when you have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell just powering it down as two little 5'8", 5'9" dudes. But yeah, if their defense can just get a little bit better, I mean, yeah, I think the division is definitely within reach.
Yeah, it's surprising.
TJ Watt's still there too, so having a
Yeah,
superstar like that helps.
that does help.
So sticking with that same division, my number two is Lamar Jackson. A lot of weird storylines going on with him. Uh, he he's definitely hurt because last I saw, his status for this weekend is up in the air.
Hmm.
He hurt his hamstring. Obviously, for a running quarterback like him, that's not good. If he has to just sit in the pocket and throw, I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I mean, he's definitely a better passer than when he came out of Louisville and just in the years he's been in the NFL. But my biggest gripe with Lamar Jackson is that I don't want to say he's overrated because he's good and he puts up numbers, but he's not a winner. It just seems like we're reaching a point where all these big games he either blows or he can't come back and win. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is with him, but he's winning is everything in the NFL, and right now he's not showing a whole lot of winning. So I'm not saying there's a quarterback change needed because I mean we saw what Cooper Rush brings, not a whole lot, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, Lamar needs to get that hamstring figured out, and then they need to start stacking some wins, or else it's going to be another really disappointing season for Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore's kind of feeling to me like last year's 49ers team. Ton of talent, but just injuries everywhere. Really hard schedule. I don't think Lamar's overrated, but I think he's a great regular season quarterback that just doesn't deliver in the playoffs. To give you a good analogy, in my opinion, he's kind of turning into the Tracy McGrady of the NBA or Vince Carter of the NBA. Someone that's super flashy, someone that's very elite, but he may never win the big game. Tracy McGrady never won a playoff series until he was very much out of the starting picture. Kind of that same dude, but a guy that everyone looks at and says this guy's a ridiculous athlete and one of the best players in the world.
And honestly, at this
So
point, you could throw Joe Burrow in there, or well, you can't throw Joe Burrow in there.
he's
Josh
hurt.
Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen's kind of the same boat. I mean, Josh Allen, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That team undefeated right now. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens this year. I feel like the waves are parting for the Bills a little bit.
They are, and Allen needs to capitalize. The one thing I'll give Allen is that he has way less talent. I mean, James Cook is good, actually very good,
Yeah,
but the receiving core, I mean, like they've really stacked that Ravens team for Lamar to excel. And Josh
yeah.
Allen, he just makes any and everyone better when they play with him.
So my second thing is I'm just going to talk about Philly. Philly undefeated. They look unbeatable right now. But the saga that is AJ Brown, they're really trying to force feed him the ball. Obviously, he's not happy with his role, but they're winning. And even though he's not touching the ball, he has this huge presence on their offensive side of the ball that defenses are flocking over to him. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over these next few weeks, especially if Philly continues to win. What are they going to do with AJ Brown? Because you can't trade him because he does grab the attention of the defense. But what's going to happen here?
Well, yeah, and Devonta Smith isn't really. I wouldn't consider him a wide receiver one. He can lead a team, but he's too tiny to be that like the guy for an entire
Yeah,
season. He's kind of definitely a complimentary. I'll give him a 1B, not 1A,
yeah.
but he's like a 1B. Yeah, that whole thing is interesting. I saw a tweet that I think it was Sunday or Monday. AJ Brown, however you read into it, basically tweeted out like some something that if you read into it like I don't really want to be here. I don't know. The whole thing's very strange. I mean, you'd think that he'd care more about winning than like personal stats, but a lot of these wide receiver ones are divas in and of themselves
Yeah,
and care a lot about themselves. He clearly does. Yeah, he's a weird dude. I mean, we saw him reading books on the sideline last year in the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
he definitely, yeah, he's definitely showing that he wants the ball. He's demanding it. I mean, it's not that Hurts can't throw it. I mean, we saw 2 touchdowns go to Goddard.
Yep.
Um, but maybe take some pride in the fact that you are the wide receiver one. You're drawing a ton of
Attention.
presence and attention and coverage that you're opening up some of these other guys to excel. Because I mean, even Saquon, I wouldn't say compared to last year,
Hmm.
Saquon hasn't had quite the season that he probably would want to have. But
Correct.
at the end of the day, you're winning.
You're winning. That's the big thing. I mean, if they were losing and this was happening, then it's a whole different can of worms. But you're winning, and then on top of it, you got 9 targets this week.
Right.
It's
At
not
some
like
point,
I mean,
you got to reel them in too. Like you got to help your
yeah, I mean,
quarterback out.
one catch, 9 targets. I mean, at some point you got to just say what we're doing is working, and me just being a decoy, unfortunately, is the best part for this team right now. Sucks, but they're winning.
So my number three is it has to do with Adonai Mitchell. I know how he dropped the ball and fumbled into the end zone was a little different than like say Deshaun Jackson a couple years ago when he let go of the ball. But again, kind of like how I was talking about my overtime rules. How are we in 2025 and we still have clips every year of high school, college, and NFL players not holding on to the ball to cross the goal line? I mean, what I can't wrap my head around what's so cool about trying to sprinter, lunge over the goal line while then dropping the ball. Like maybe what's not cool? Not scoring a touchdown and looking like an idiot. So again, like I said, I'll give Adonai Mitchell a little bit of a pass because he did like it was an amazing catch. He caught it like within like his elbow here, and he was transferring it to his hand to reach it across, and he fumbled it, and it was a touchback. But still, it's like, dude, just get into the end zone. Don't worry about transferring it to your hand and reaching it across. I don't know. It's just crazy to me that this just happens every year. That there's all these dudes who just I don't know why they think it's cool to try to let me drop the ball right as I cross
Yeah.
the plane. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, the only credit I'll give Mitchell on this one is, well, one, he took blame for it, but two, out of all of them that we've seen throughout the years, they usually do like the behind the back flip. This was a weird
Right.
transfer
Yeah.
right in front. So it was almost like the ball like slipped out in the transfer, which
Yeah.
probably wasn't needed anyways. But in a lot of ways, it's like guys trying to celebrate. The only reason why I'm like, I don't feel as bad for him is this one was, he actually wasn't trying to celebrate.
No,
It was
he
just like
was
a
trying to get
weird
it though,
slip. Yeah, it was like a weird slip up. And it was like, that just sucked. So, and
well,
it
and then it
cost them
didn't,
the game.
and it didn't help that Jonathan Taylor had a huge run for a touchdown and he had a holding penalty.
Yeah,
So you don't want to
did
ever
not
put
help.
you never want to put blame on one player. It's a team sport, but he, like you said, he took blame for those two plays, and he probably felt pretty bad because, I mean, either of those going for a touchdown, and the Colts arguably win that game.
Yeah. So my third thing is just kind of a funny, well, I guess it's not funny, but just more of a comment. Uh, so Monday night we see Tyreek Hill land very awkwardly. We now know it's torn ACL. I think out for the season. I haven't seen that officially, but I'm guessing he's out for the season. But just the aftermath of it is usually you see guys getting carted off and they're crying and they're really upset. He's out there like praising God and like smiling. There's now been like photos released of him in the ambulance where he's like smiling and having a great time. And it's great to have a great spirit about it, and I give him a lot of praise for that. But I have to admit, in the moment, that was pretty weird.
Yeah, I think he's excited. Tua is not going to be throwing in the ball anymore. That was very strange.
He
He's just,
was
I think he's literally just excited he's not a part of that offense anymore, and he's hoping that he can start his recovery process and probably get out of Miami.
probably that's what it feels like. But it was just a very weird moment, and I hope he gets healthy and is good and everything, and back on the field next year. But one of the weirdest injury situations I think I can think of
I've
in my memory.
never, I've never seen that. Normally, it's like towel over the head, hunched over. You're pissed off because your season's over. He's out there like, yeah, the guy was
Yeah, it's just
just
it was just like
jovial and smiling on the cart.
it's like usually guys are in so much pain they can't even like do anything. And when he was getting carted off, I was like, oh, maybe he's back in 2 weeks now. ACL. It's like this is insane. I don't weird, just a weird moment. So
He might be the closest thing we have to like Antonio Brown. He's not that crazy, but
yeah,
he's a little weird.
it was a little weird. So, all right, well, let's jump into week 5 of the NFL slate. We got 4 teams on byes: Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh, all on byes. We're in bye season all of a sudden. But let's jump into the game tonight, a divisional matchup. San Francisco heading to the LA Rams. San Francisco just so banged up already again. A lot of wide receivers out. Purdy may not go again. Who do you got?
Yeah, 49ers are just too banged up for me to pick them. McCaffrey's doing everything within his power to will that team to victories. I just don't think they have enough. Rams defense is good. Stafford's starting to look like the Stafford of old. Uh, and Puka Nakua. I mean, talk about Stafford has always been one of those guys where if you're on his good side and he treats you as like the wide receiver one, you're getting multiple targets, not even multiple, double digit targets every game, and he's just gonna pepper you, and that's what he's doing with Nakua. So hopefully we don't have an AJ Brown situation with Devonte Adams coming up. He is a little older. Hopefully he understands his role, but yeah, I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams as well. Just too much firepower there. Rams, I think, are one of the top 6 teams in the league at this point. Really, really good on offense and defense. So Rams, easy pick there for me. Sunday morning, going to England, Minnesota taking on Cleveland.
I'm banking on the Vikings playing like how they did in the fourth quarter, throwing a little bit of a comeback in there. They also get the benefit of the doubt that they got to stay and just acclimate overseas for an entire week. The Browns, yeah, they've been there for 4 or 5 days, but I think the Vikings just having already played in Dublin, just having to cross the pond over to London helps. I think Carson Wentz like I said, I think he plays like the second half, Carson Wentz, not the first half. And the Browns just they don't know how to win right now. So I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings as well. I think they actually win by a couple touchdowns. I think this is the last time we see Joe Flacco start a game. I think we see one of the two rookies in week 6 start for Cleveland, um, or week 7 because they got a bye in week 6. So I think Minnesota wins this one pretty big. Going to the morning slate, Raiders taking on the Colts in Indianapolis.
I'm taking the Colts. They're at home. Raiders, I know, are coming off a pretty decent game. Genty looking really good. Geno Smith is just not good though. He's a turnover machine. Um, and like we've talked about with the Raiders, I just don't think they're quite there yet. You'd think they would be at least a little further ahead than they are with a
Yep.
veteran quarterback like Geno and a guy who has rapport with Pete Carroll. But yeah, unfortunately, a rookie running back I don't think can really carry the load for an entire team. So, and the Colts are, I think the Colts are good. If they get more of Indiana Jones and not Danny Dimes, I think that Colts team is very good. So yeah, I like the
Yep.
Colts at home.
I'm taking the Colts as well. Raiders really need to clean up the turnovers. Genty looked great though against the Bears, but I still think Indy wins this one by about a touchdown. Um, Giants go into New Orleans. Jackson Dart looked good, not crazy stats, but got a win in his first start. New Orleans still searching for their first win.
Yeah, and it's not happening this week. I'm taking the Giants. I know Neighbors is out, and that's a big loss for Dart. Um, but Dart looked fine. He runs a lot more than I ever thought he did. I don't remember him doing that a lot in college, but he's got some wheels on him. He's just kind of that breath of fresh air. It seems like for New York. So, and the Saints are just like they're bad. Spencer Rattler's not good. They're staying in games. I'll give them credit for like trying, but this isn't participation sports. This is the NFL. So I'm taking the Giants on the road. Good defensive line for the Giants too.
I'm actually going to take New Orleans here. I think this game's going to be sloppy, and New Orleans is not a great team, but they're not 0-17 bad. They're going to find a way to win one of these games, and it being at home, I think, helps. Jackson Dart, now we got a little bit of film on him, so it's not a complete mystery of what he can do in the NFL, and we know that's where kind of rookies begin to struggle a little bit. So I'm actually going to take New Orleans here, and I think they win a sloppy, low-scoring game and get one of their very few wins this season. Spencer Rattler might get his first victory. Um, Dallas heading to the Jets. Aaron Glenn was PO'd after that Monday night game for sure. But both these teams coming off of prime time matchups.
I'm taking the Cowboys mainly just because of that offense and what Dak has shown these last couple weeks. Jets again just don't seem like that team that has figured out how to win. They make a ton of errors. They have way too many penalties. Um, yeah, if the Jets want to win, they need Justin Fields to just start peppering Garrett Wilson a little more. The guy's
Yep.
unbelievable, and he doesn't get enough targets. But yeah, the Jets are just one of those teams that also just don't know how to win. So I'm taking the Cowboys on the road.
I'm going to take Dallas as well. I'm just going to say one thing really quick, and then we'll move on to the next game. Worst weekend for a single player had to be that Jets kick returner who fumbled and then decided to do a fair catch at the 2 yard line. I don't know if that guy's still on the team. He might already be cut, but but that guy had a bad weekend.
Yeah, not a good week.
But I'll take Dallas there. Denver heading to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm not even a deep dive into this. I'm taking the Eagles because they know how to win, and they have a crazy stat, which I'm sure you'll talk about. And yeah, they're at home. Eagles find a way to win.
Yeah, Eagles are great, winning 20 of their last 21. They've now introduced the fact that they could run multiple things out of the tush push, which is frightening, and score touchdowns doing it. Just a lot of talent. I think the only person that's unhappy in Philly right now is AJ Brown. So that's all I got to say about that. Um, Miami heading to Carolina.
I'm just taking the Dolphins because I don't really have a reason. They looked all right. Granted, it was the Jets. I know losing Tyreek isn't great, but the best player on the field is Devon Achan, and I think he's going to be able to run all over the Panthers. So that's why I'm taking Miami.
So for me, I'm actually going to take Carolina. They've looked a little Jekyll and Hyde this season, but they played well at home. So this is at Carolina. They crushed Atlanta a few weeks ago at home or in Carolina. I'm taking Carolina. I think we see a bounce back situation. Miami, I think, was much more the fact that they played the Jets. And now that they don't have Hill, no one's going to really take over that role. Achan, best player on the field. I agree with you there, but I don't know. I'll take Carolina on this one. So Houston heading to Baltimore. Lamar still up in the air if he's going to play. Also Baltimore, just tons of injuries on that defense. Who do you got?
I have the Ravens if Lamar plays. I know this is kind of a cop out answer. I think the Texans have a good shot if Cooper Rush is the quarterback. We don't know yet, so I'm banking on the fact that Lamar will suit up, and the Ravens they can't afford to lose this game if Lamar is on the field. If it is Cooper Rush, maybe use Derrick Henry a little more and try to get him going. Justice Hill has actually looked all right. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to stick with the Ravens. I think they need it way more than the Texans do because the Texans aren't really a team worth worrying about at this point. In this, you know, at at this point, they're just not really a contender in any regard. Not to say the Ravens maybe are either, but there's just way too many big names on the Ravens right now. I will be interested to see though if Woody Marks his snap share goes up over Nick Chubb. He looked really good
Yep.
last week. But I'm
I'm gonna.
gonna take
Yeah.
the Ravens at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore as well. Not much more to add on to what you've already said. I'm just going to go with Baltimore and hope that some of these guys that are hurt play. Um, we'll move to the afternoon slate. Tennessee heading to Arizona. Cam Ward probably had the quote of the weekend saying, "We asked right now." Um, but you got Tennessee heading to Arizona.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals just because they're at home and they're playing a rookie quarterback. They'll somehow figure out a way to win. It won't be pretty if Drew Petzing keeps up this type of offensive game script, but yeah, it's hard to predict when rookie quarterbacks are going to get a win, and I can't choose the Titans yet because they ass.
Yeah. Tennessee looks horrible. Very, very hard team to pick right now, so I have to go Arizona, even though I'm not like confident on the pick. I was surprised on the line. Arizona's favored by 9.5. It seems like a lot of points. Granted, Tennessee didn't score at all last week, so who knows? Tricky game here. Tampa Bay heading to Seattle.
I'm taking Seahawks. Their defense looks really good. Their running game looks good. Bucks are a little banged up. They're still trying to incorporate Godwin a little more. Bucky Irving is a little banged up. We'll see if he plays. Yeah, I'm just saying Seahawks right now. The war of attrition is leaning in the Seahawks' favor.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks as well. They'll go to 4-1, which is really surprising. Sam Darnold looking really nice as a quarterback at this point. Detroit heading to a very banged up Cincinnati team.
Yeah, the Bengals might be the worst team in football right now, just because without a quarterback, you can't get that offense going at all. And Jake Browning is not helping any of those receivers or running backs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions have way too many options, way too many weapons, and honestly, way too many trick plays for the Bengals to keep them held down. So yeah, I'm taking the Lions handedly winning.
yeah, that's probably my lock of the week. I've also got the Lions. Not much to add there. Washington heading to the LA Chargers.
I'm taking the Chargers in a bounce back week. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Jim Harbaugh to right the ship with oh my god, Justin Herbert. He had a bad week. Hampton looks really good. They they need to get Lad going. He's definitely a possession receiver. Quentin Johnson, Harbaugh has gotten going. Now he's got to try to start getting Ladd going to make it that 1-2 punch. And then you have, always steady Keenan Allen there to right the ship whenever you need a reception. But I like the Chargers. I think they're going to come back from the dead, per se, from losing last week.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Chargers. My one worry right now with that team is their O line. A lot of injuries are, racking up. Slater obviously got hurt before the season. Alt now hurt as well. He was protecting Herbert's blind side, and when he went out against the Giants, it was almost like a free for all. So they got to really get that low line going. But I'll take the Chargers. Got to get Lad McConkey going. Um, yeah, but Washington just has been very in and out this season as well. They'll look really good one week and then they'll look really bad. So I'm going to bet on the fact that Chargers probably going to take this one. Sunday Night Football, we got a divisional matchup. New England heading to Buffalo.
Yeah, I think this one will be closer than many think. I'm taking the Bills. Patriots are showing me something. Drake May is definitely a starting quarterback in this league, but he's not good enough yet to beat Josh Allen. So, Bills at home, they're going to win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good matchup, but I say Buffalo wins very much for what you said. New England's growing. They're just not there yet. So, Monday Night Football, Kansas City heading to Jacksonville.
I initially circled Jacksonville. They're at home. I like that, but I don't know. They're a weird team. I want to give it one more week. And what I saw out of the Chiefs, Mahomes looked dominant. He's getting his weapons back finally. Worthy came back. Hollywood Brown looks all right. Even Tyquan Thornton is something. I don't want to say he's a stud by any means, but he's something. Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs and Mahomes on the road.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs as well on the road. Xavier Worthy really opened up that offense, which really helped out Mahomes. Jacksonville has really been relying on the fact of people making mistakes. Kansas City really doesn't make that many mistakes. So I also think Spagnuolo on the defensive side is going to put up a pretty tough game plan for Trevor Lawrence. We've seen Trevor Lawrence look very bad at times this year, even though they're 3-1. I see a lot of pressure being put on him. So I'm going to take Kansas City. So, well, before we wrap up, we have our top five, very similar to what we did yesterday. We talked about our five college football stadiums we want to visit. Today, we're going to talk about our five NFL stadiums we want to visit. So we'll list our top five. I'll let you go first. Easy 30 stadiums to pick from here, rather than 124 or
Yeah.
144 yesterday. So.
Or FCS if you want to include,
South Dakota State.
South Dakota State. My number five is the Seahawks and Lumen Field. 12th man gets loud in there. Seattle's a fun city to visit. So, throwing the Seahawks at five.
I've been there, fantastic. Also, we're putting together a list here of stadiums we've never been to, so we may have some different things. But yeah, that's a very fun stadium. Had a good time. I love how they raised the flag. When I was there, Chris Pratt did it, which was cool.
Nice.
My number five is AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys play. Jerry World, as a lot of people call it. It's just kind of been the stadium over the last few years since it's been built of this mecca, and I would just think it'd be really cool to see the mecca. Even if it's not a football game, they have so many different events there. The big screen. I think it would just be cool to get it off the checklist.
I have Arrowhead Stadium at four. I've been there for an Ed Sheeran concert, but not a football game. And their fans are crazy. One of the loudest stadiums. Um, yeah, that's really it.
Cool. My number four is Allegiant Stadium, where the Raiders play. I still think it would be very cool to be able to go to a football game and then just go to immediately and gamble and just go across the street onto the strip. I've had a lot of friends. I know a lot of people that have been in and out of that stadium. It's just beautiful, very well built, great location. Um, and Raider Nation's always a good time.
So everything you said, I'm not going to repeat. I have Allegiant Stadium at 3.
Perfect. So number three, I have Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, the Falcon Stadium. And the reason, one, very beautiful stadium, been recently built. But one of the things that I think is awesome about that stadium is it's notoriously known for having the cheapest concession prices in the NFL. Cheap hot dogs, cheap beer, and on top of it, great fans and a beautiful stadium. So that's why that lands at three.
Unfortunately, you cannot get Chick-fil-A there because they play on
That's true.
Sundays.
That's true.
My number 2 is Lambeau Field. I guess it doesn't matter. I'd probably, as an Arizona-born dude, prefer to go earlier in the season than like some of those playoff games or even like in November, December. But it's one of the greatest stadiums, you know, in the history of football. Just seems like a great place to watch a game. I have an
Yep.
uncle in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan who used to have season tickets, so I probably screwed myself on that opportunity because he got rid of his season tickets. So uh, definitely had an opportunity there because he had 4 tickets and always invited my dad and I to come up and go to a game, and we screwed the pooch on that one. So have to buy scalper tickets at this point.
Yeah. So my number two is SoFi. I've been offered to go to many games. I've turned it down, but SoFi Stadium, from the outside looking in, is awesome. It looks great. I've had a lot of friends go to there, and it's just beautiful. Great stories that have come out of it. My only fallback of it is the parking sucks. Getting anywhere in LA sucks. So if those things weren't a factor, I probably would have already gone. But I don't want to pay $200 for parking. That's stupid. But beautiful stadium. I wish to go to at some point, and probably just Uber.
So my number 1 is Highmark Stadium. This is the last year of it for Buffalo fans. They're getting the new stadium, which is also going to be an outdoor stadium, which is nuts. But that's mainly why I think it'd be fun to go to Highmark. It's their last year. Their fans are crazy, and I want to see some fans tailgating jump through tables.
Yeah, it's definitely a big win. So my number one is Lambeau Field, for a lot of the reasons you already mentioned, but the history being the biggest one. I feel like you have to have it at some point, being an NFL fan. Also, probably the hardest ticket to get in the NFL, as people have been on those wait lists for decades.
Yeah.
Um, that would be my top five right there.
So I've done a tour of Lambeau. Ross and
Hmm.
I did a tour of Lambeau back in college when I was driving a car I bought from my grandmother in Indianapolis. We did a 2 week long road trip. Great stadium. Just haven't seen a game there yet.
Yeah. So my six and seven would have been Bill Stadium and then Arrowhead. So those were my two looking in. So, well, before we wrap up here, anything you want to address? Are we good?
Good with me. Can
Sweet.
wrap it up.
All right, we'll wrap it up, and everyone enjoy this wonderful weekend of college and NFL. We're in October, so yeah, college football, NFL, baseball's in playoffs, NFL or NBA is about to start. WNBA is in their championship. A lot of sports going on right now. Um, we're in the thick of it. So thank you
The
guys for
true
listening.
witching hour in October, spooky season.
Yeah, we are here. All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you next week, and have a great weekend. We'll see y'all later.